And welcome to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. Kristen, how are you today?
I'm doing great. You look so pretty in emerald.
Oh, thank you so much. You look beautiful in blue. You always do. It's just so bright and happy. And Greg, how are you today?
I'm doing great, but I don't look beautiful in anything, you know?
You both always look fabulous.
So Greg wears three colors: navy, black, and gray.
Okay.
Every once in a while you see pops, and that's me popping it into his life and changing things up.
And I love that. I love your touches. You would be an excellent stylist, by the way. You truly would. You have an eye for that. I am so excited about today's show. This is very special. It's actually a two-part series, and I'm so excited about it. Retirement 101. The reason being, obviously, people have called in, they have questions, and a lot of times they don't even know what to ask. They don't know where to start. So wouldn't it be great if they had a course in college about how to plan your retirement? That would be awesome.
Yes.
So the question that I would have is, do you feel overall that retirees need to be educated on retirement today?
I absolutely think you do.
Okay.
I think education equals empowerment. And not that you're necessarily going to do everything yourself. So, you know, if you worked as an engineer or, you know, I'm trying to think of all the professions now we meet with, an engineer or a doctor, things like that. Of course, you love doing what you did. That was your passion. And you're thinking, I don't want to deal with this stuff. You may, you know, piddled around with doing investments or buying stocks here and there, and that's great. But once you get to where we say the rubber meets the road and you really need to make this thing work for your retirement, it's important to have that base knowledge to know what you're looking for in an advisor that you're searching out. So we put together this course, if you will, to try to help educate and empower you to make good decisions on your retirement.
Yeah.
Sure. So Greg, I should ask you, what are some basic concerns, risks, or challenges that retirees are facing today?
You know, there's a lot of things that keep people almost up at night, worrying about, you know, is my money going to last? No, do I have enough? You know, that's usually a question. Even for those that have saved quite a bit of money, they come in asking, have I done enough? Or, you know, how do I compare? And of course, how you compare doesn't even matter, right?
And this stuff doesn't keep us up at night yet. Jaden keeps us up at night.
Okay.
But these worries don't.
Well, Jaden is our youngest.
Okay.
Yes.
So Jaden wakes up in the middle of the night and comes running down the stairs, I mean, like a barrel. And you hear him because we have hardwood floors, and then the dog's barking, and it's like just mad chaos, right, when he comes in the room. So that's what we worry about at night. And then we think about you that are watching today. You know, we don't want you up at night worrying about these topics.
So Belle, our 3-pound teacup Yorkie,
Okay.
you know, she sleeps on the top of our covers at the foot of our bed.
Yep.
And I mean, she's not big as a minute. I mean, she
Right.
isn't, but at 3 o'clock in the morning when he comes barreling through the door, you know, scared of something, right? I mean, he wakes up and he's afraid. She goes off like, you know, like the world's coming to an end.
Yeah.
And,
I'm sure Paco has a similar bark.
That's exactly where my mind was going, because Paco is the exact same way. So even if it's like Tony coming to bed later, if he's watching like a game or something, Paco will just go crazy and his bark goes right through you. So I can totally relate to Belle.
Yes, and so lately, what have we experienced? Well, we've had just so much market volatility in the last few years.
Yeah,
I mean, with the pandemic, and then all of a sudden it's going back up, and then we think things are doing a lot better in 2021, and then 2022, you know, the Fed starts raising interest rates. We have the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
Yeah.
We have all this lack of confidence in what's going on in Washington, and it's like someone pulled the rug out from under us. And a lot of people are afraid of just the uncertainty right now.
Well, and I mean, the uncertainty in it goes to a base concern, right? Longevity. Because we're always hearing, I'm worried if my money's going to last. And those outside factors, like Greg was alluding to, are part of that equation. But longevity itself is a big part of it, because we have, double the amount of centurions than we had 10 years ago.
Wow.
That number has just skyrocketed. And I had a great grandmother that lived to over 100, and a grandmother that lived to just under 100, 99 years old.
Wow.
And so when you start thinking about that, people didn't used to live that long. I don't know if I said that grammatically correct, but
It's
that's how
actually
it came
centenarians.
out. Yeah. So I was thinking about it after I said it. I thought, that's not right. But people are living much, much longer. And so that feeds into that concern, that feeds into that fear of having your money last throughout your retirement years.
Yeah.
For sure. And then there's health care. And none of us know what our health care needs are going to be exactly. We know if we're in relatively good health or if we're struggling with our health. And we don't know, are we going to need care at home? You know, some sort of home health care or assisted living, or will we need long-term nursing home care? And, you know, a lot of the companies that have provided long-term health care insurance are struggling financially. So people are trying to decide, you know, how do I best account for health care, especially if they retire maybe before they're age 65.
Sure.
They're not eligible for things like Medicare.
Yeah.
And so what solutions do I have out there, and how much income can I make before health insurance becomes too expensive on the Affordable Health Care Act plan? All these are questions that people have. And, you know, Kristen and I can't be, you know, knowledgeable as far as in depth on every single subject. So we've really partnered with some strategic partners. One such partner I've worked with since 1994, all he deals with is health insurance and Medicare. And so we're able to refer a lot of folks to this person because that can be a great resource for knowledge, because he's done this for all these many, many years, and he's more knowledgeable in that area than anyone I know.
Wow.
So
okay. That makes
when
sense.
it comes to all these areas that people have concerns about, so whether it be longevity, whether it be health care,
Now you have taxes.
all those things. Taxes.
Taxes.
Yes.
Taxes is a big one. The U.S. debt has grown by $10 trillion in the last 3 years.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
$10 trillion in 3 years.
And if you pulled up the U.S. debt calculator right now, I mean, it's just moving. It's constantly moving.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't pause. It doesn't lag. Nothing. I mean, we're constantly adding to our debt. And so that feeds into that fear. That feeds into the fact that, hey, taxes are going to cost more possibly later in retirement. We've talked about it on just about every show. At some point, your income may be higher in retirement than it was during your working years, believe it or not. I get so many calls from people
Yes.
that don't want to take that RMD, that required minimum distribution that we're forced to take at age 72. So understanding how taxes are going to affect your retirement will really help you to ease that fear, ease that concern, and get a plan in place. Because fear, sticking your head in the sand, like the was that Wile E. Coyote cartoons? Was that Wile E. Coyote when the Roadrunner
Yes.
would stick his head in the sand
Yes.
and then pop up meet and pop up? But that doesn't fix anything, right? The
That's
coyote
true.
was still there; it didn't change it. So we don't want to do that when it comes to taxes. We want to address that Social Security income being taxed and that possibly changing in the future during our retirement years is another concern we've had come up.
I just had this picture in my head of, you know, Uncle Sam on top of a cliff, and, you know, we're rolling down our retirement, and, you know, with our big barrel of IRA dollars,
Yeah.
and the coyote, Uncle Sam, is
Yeah.
ready to push that anvil over the cliff, you know, to derail our retirement, you know, to raise taxes and things like
Yep.
that, and that's a big concern.
Sure.
Raising taxes, and, you know, I hate to put it so simply, but I mean, that's part of the problem. And then volatility and lack of planning, you know, those are things. So whether it be how long we live, whether it be healthcare, whether it be taxes, whether it be how long we live, or lack of planning, that volatility, we need to be prepared for those things, because the market in all its history has done two things. It's gone up and it's gone down.
Well, you know, we talked about at the top of the show a little bit about Jaden popping into our room. So one time we decided we would put a plan in place so that we wouldn't have to deal with Jaden barreling into our room. So we locked the door.
Okay.
And, you know, adult time, you lock the door.
Yeah.
Well, we forgot to unlock the door
Yeah.
after. And in the middle of the night, Jaden came barreling down into the room like he normally does. This is TMI, I know, but, you know, it is. We're all adults. So so he came barreling
Hopefully
down.
no kids are watching right now.
He came barreling down and, you know, just banged on the door. As loud as it sounded like the police were coming in. I mean, it was
Right.
it was a chaotic scene. And I'm wide awake now, and I'm thinking, I'm just going to see if he leaves. Well, sure enough, within a couple seconds, I hear pitter patter walking away. I'm thinking, oh, good, he went to his room. He thought maybe I can't get in there.
Yeah.
Then I hear doot, 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 coming back to the room. He unlocked the door. He went and got the key. He got
Oh
the
my
little, you know, the
gosh.
pin. We keep it in the drawer.
Yeah.
He unlocked the door, and this little brat climbed up in the bed, wedged between us, and fell right to sleep. I mean, it was a matter of seconds, and it was like nothing to him. You know, he did all this half asleep. And so when it comes to volatility, you can only plan so much, right?
Right.
So as you're trying to figure out how you're going to ease your fears and your concerns and think, okay, well, the stock market's an area that is going to be kind of hard. I can do as much as I can, but at the end of the day, I'm still in the stock market, right? If you're watching today, you're thinking, okay, even if I was invested fairly conservatively over the last 2-3 years, I may have had some volatility there. It may have felt uneasy. There may have been a little bit of a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, because this year stocks and bonds, or this past year, past 12 months, stocks and bonds have both gone down, double digits.
Right.
So, I mean, the thing that was used forever to de-risk our portfolios didn't de-risk them any longer.
So we'll continue it next segment.
Perfect. This is the perfect time for us to open the phones. Would you agree?
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
To our viewers at home, the number to call is on your screen, and that number is 614-336-7660. We know that you're watching the show today and that you have a lot of questions for Greg and Kristen about how to plan your perfect retirement. Questions about how to get through inflation, questions about how to handle taxes during retirement. They have the answers for you. They're offering you a complimentary consultation. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call in today, 614-336-7660. They would love to schedule a time to meet with you and to listen about what your goals and dreams are for retirement. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We have so much more on Retirement 101 when we return.
Living a life is building a legacy of milestones. Your first home, raising your children, becoming grandparents, and memories. From the first steps across the living room floor to the walk down the aisle, at every stage, your family is the most important part of your life, and you want to protect them, now and in the future. Which is why the decisions you make today are so important. You've worked hard to provide a better life for your loved ones. Now is the time to make sure that lasts. Build a legacy that will influence generations to come. Plan smart. Retire well with Legacy Retirement Group.
And welcome back to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. Today's show is amazing, Retirement 101, and a lot of really good information given in the first segment. In this next segment, I want to talk about tax qualifications. How does that work, Greg?
Well, there's essentially 3 types of accounts as far as tax qualification is concerned. We have those accounts that are all taxable. And that means we've paid tax before we put them in these accounts. And then interest earned while we're growing these accounts is taxed also. So, and the government from a tax qualification standpoint would call those non-qualified accounts. They're not tax qualified. In other words, they don't defer the tax until later. Taxes are paid as earned.
Okay.
Then within that, there is a little caveat called capital gains. So like if we own a stock, there's realized and unrealized gains. So if we cash in the stock for a gain, that's called a realized gain because we've now cashed in the gain. If we let it grow, it's not a realized gain yet, so we don't pay tax until we actually cash in on it.
Okay.
But we would pay tax, for instance, on dividends.
Okay.
So things like that. So there's taxable. Then there's tax deferred.
Okay.
So this is the next tax qualification. That would be IRAs, 401ks, things like 403bs, which are tax sheltered annuities. There's
Deferred compensation.
That's right, and TSPs. So thrift savings plans. So all those, we put money in. We actually get a deduction when we put that money in the account. For most of us, unless your income's too high, and then on IRAs, that is, and then for anyone, you can put money into a traditional 401k or plan. Okay. The trouble with these plans is we're trusting that later on our tax rates won't be higher, and for some they will. Some people, either due to their income or tax law changes, tax rates will be higher in the future, and then that could cause the taxes to be higher Plus, with tax deferred accounts, now everything that grows, no matter what happens later, every penny that comes out is now taxable
Wow. Okay.
at whatever your current tax rate is. And what's really interesting about tax deferred accounts is they impact or can impact tax you pay on your Social Security. Because, for instance, if you're a single person, if half your Social Security plus other taxable income is under $25,000, then you pay zero tax on your Social Security. However, if it's above that number, then you pay tax on either 50% or 85% of your Social Security benefit, but what's interesting is that entire Social Security benefit would then be taxed at your highest marginal tax rate. So if you barely went into the 22% tax bracket, then your entire Social Security tax will be taxed at 22%.
Wow. Okay.
So that's important. Then we have tax-free.
Yes, tax-free, the Roth.
Yes.
I purposely stole your thunder there because you love talking about the Roth.
Go ahead.
So the Roth, we get to put money in after we pay tax on those dollars already.
Okay.
And it grows tax-free. The interest is tax-free, and then it distributes tax-free.
Okay.
So those are the best types of money
Yes.
that Greg likes.
I feel like I need a cape with a big R on the back. No, Roth, man, no.
Yeah.
But I love the Roth. I love the idea of tax-free because if we really study tax rates, so in the 1970s, 1980s, early 80s, the highest tax rate was 70%. When we go forward to the the early 90s and so on, now the highest tax rate is 50%. Get into the later 90s and early 2000s, and think about it, this was when George W. Bush was elected in the early 2000s. The lowest tax rate was 15%. And right now you can make up to $80,000 a year and still be in a 12% tax bracket. And the highest tax rate was 39.6. And right now the highest is 37%. However, you can still make over $340,000 and be within the 24% tax bracket. So these tax rates we're experiencing right now are so very low that I'm really encouraging people to pay your taxes now. Pay your taxes up front. Is it fun to pay taxes now? Absolutely not. Is it fun to pay them later, whatever the tax rates may be? And when we think about this, many of the countries around the world, their middle class is paying between 40 and 50% tax rates. The middle class.
Wow.
All the politicians want to talk about the middle class.
Yeah.
But I think the middle class in our country is really in danger of paying somewhere between 30 and 40% tax rate in the coming 10-year period.
Well, and you may be watching and thinking, well, I don't know if I want to deal with the conversion, and that's okay. Greg's not going to bully you into it. We joke on the show a lot that that's his favorite thing to do. But
To bully?
Well,
What?
to convert to Roth.
Okay.
Or it may just not be efficient for you. There's another way. If you're already charitably minded, there's something called a QCD, a qualified charitable deduction. And so you're able to, at age 72, deduct up to $100,000 of your IRA RMD, required minimum distribution, directly into a charity. So that's another option for you if you're charitably minded. You don't maybe want to convert to a Roth, or it's just tax efficiency wise, it doesn't make sense for you. Here's another way where you can save potentially on taxes if you donate those. Now, the only caveat is you have to donate the complete amount. You can't split it up usually, and the charity has to write an acceptance letter to be able to do that.
Okay.
But and Jessica in our office, she does those all the time for our clients. It's so easy. And, I think part of the thing, Cynthia, for people as they're learning new things and they're trying to apply that to their own, personal economy, is how hard is this going to be?
Yeah.
How much hassle am I going to go through? Because the idea of changing something, it seems like such a hassle.
Sure.
Whether it's an advisor or whether it's, just my thought process. Jaden, when we ask him to do something he's not used to, you can see him. He's kind of nervous, and he just doesn't. sometimes they'll just say, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes the best things we do require a little effort, and they really do. And with that, we want to make sure that people understand this doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
Being efficient and learning and creating a plan and knowing where your income's going to come from, and knowing that you're in the proper risk for where you are in life and retirement, and knowing that you have a tax plan, and knowing that you have a map for your health care, and knowing that whatever's left over is going to get to the people you love efficiently.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that hard. It really doesn't.
Well, Kristen, I know that you and Greg have a very special offer to present today. Let's talk about what that is before we reopen the phone lines.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Greg was mentioning there, we talked about all these things that you need to really educate yourself on to empower yourself to make these decisions for your retirement. And one easy thing you can do that doesn't require a lot of effort really on your part is you can actually go right on our website, legacyretirementgroup.com, and click on tools, or even get to testmyretirement.com like we have there on the screen to test your taxes. But say you just want to go on and figure out what you have and take inventory of what you have and maybe what you'll potentially need. You can download a My Retirement Kit directly from our website.
Yeah.
And that'll help you start gathering as you're learning these pieces of information and figuring out what it is you need to have in order, or the different tax qualifications for the different dollars that you've saved. You can start inventorying that right on our sheet. If you go to legacyretirementgroup.com and click on tools, you can download the My Retirement Kit there.
Kristen, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much. And that number is 614-336-7660. We're going to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, I'm going to talk to Greg and Kristen about what else do we need to know about our retirement assets. Stay tuned.
I'm sometimes nervous when I don't know exactly what to expect. I find that there's a little hesitation in folks to want to go meet with an advisor. Maybe they're not sure of how they've done compared to others, but it's really our job to just sit down and have a conversation. There's an advisor for almost every street corner here in our city. At Legacy Retirement Group, we believe that if you plan smart, you can retire well. We want you to be successful in any economy. And how do you accomplish that in today's world? Well, we first want to look at the principles by which we're playing. No investment decision should ever be made outside the context of your plan. Then your plan determines your positions and what you hold in retirement. We want you to manage risk. We want you to not be surprised by healthcare costs or inflation or taxes. We don't want those to derail your retirement, and our focus has always been consistency and efficiency. Really trying to maintain what it is that we've spent our lifetime accumulating, and now transitioning that into a plan, transitioning that into something that feels secure and gives me peace of mind so that I know I'm not going to outlive my money. It's nice to see that relief in people's faces when you can tell they're confident in their plan.
Greg really gets pleasure out of seeing our client success.
And welcome back to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. Today's show is so amazing. Retirement 101. They really should have a college course about this because it's so informative. But I have a question. Greg, what about the other retirement assets? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, there's essentially, in my book, there's two main asset classes.
Okay.
There's asset classes where your principal's protected, and there's asset classes where your principal's at risk. And so within those, we have basically three types of investment products or tools, if you would. You have bank products, which is, your savings, your checking, CDs, money market accounts, those types of things. And those accounts are safe. Those accounts are very liquid and available to us. The string attached with those accounts is that they just don't grow a lot, right? And so then we look at brokerage products, which are stocks and bonds and mutual funds and exchange traded funds and commodities and variable annuities and
REITs.
Real estate investment trusts. And we have, alternative investments like private equity or venture capital, those types of investments. And with those tools, our principal's typically at risk. We have the most growth potential, and we, for the most part, have liquidity there. So the string attached is the fact you can lose money, right? So that's a string attached in that world. And then there are insurance products, which are typically life insurance or annuities. And within the annuity world, you have fixed annuities that are sort of like CDs. They're not CDs, but they pay a fixed rate of interest for a period of time. We call those MYGAs, multi-year guaranteed annuities.
Okay.
And then there's fixed index annuities where you get potentially up to double-digit gains in many of them. And if the market goes up, and a zero if the market goes down, that's called a floor. And then there are variable annuities where you're actually in the stock market. And variable annuities, typically the fees are pretty high, so we don't really typically use any of those in our practice. But those are the variable annuities. So with the fixed or fixed index, the money's safe. There's growth potential, and you can get dependable income streams from those. The downside is they're not fully liquid. So those are the types of tools that are out there. The idea of knowing what tools there are, what the asset classes are, and then knowing how to take those tools and apply them to your situation.
Yeah.
Because not everything should be in insurance products, not everything should be in the bank, not everything should be in the stock market. There's really a balance, and that's why we use our 3-bucket approach, because we want you to have liquidity for your day-to-day needs. We want you to have income that can last your lifetime, and we want you to have growth to keep pace with inflation.
Thank you, Greg. So, Kristen, again, what it comes down to is the importance of having a plan in place for retirement.
Absolutely. Educating yourself on what's out there, what the different accounts mean, how the taxes work for them, but then also gathering all that information up and creating a plan from it.
Well, I love the topic of today's show, obviously Retirement 101, and I'm so excited about next week as we continue on the journey. So that'll be Retirement 102, right?
Yes, you got it.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for another amazing show this week. To our viewers at home, most specifically, we want to thank you for spending time with us today. That number to call is 614-336-7660. You do not have to go through retirement alone. You have great allies here, Greg and Kristen Taylor. They're here to guide you, to help you with any questions that you may have, whether it be taxes in retirement or inflation, anything to do with that. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We'll see you back 1 week from today on Winning Retirement TV.